lighting basics. We're going to look at three things: key light, a fill light, and a hair light. How many people are familiar with these concepts? Okay, cool. So like almost half. That's great. These aren't necessarily, these are just conceptual terms. It's not like this is a hair light and that's a key light. Your key light is just your main source in a scene or in an interview. It's just your main, the brightest source. A fill light is something you might use to fill in shadows if your shot's too dramatic. And a hair light is also sometimes called a kicker light or a rim light. And that's usually behind your subject, and that's to separate them from the background. So I want to show you a few examples. This is what you might call high key lighting. High key. There's not a lot of contrast on her face. Our source is ginormous. It's actually, I don't even think I'm using any lighting here. I think we just used a giant window that was diffused, but it looks awesome. The shot looks really, really good, and it's super high key. It's bright. It's corporate. It's companies love this look for that bright, big, bright look. And it's just a big, bright, diffuse, soft source that gave us this high key lighting. This is more of what might be leaning towards, it's not totally low key, but it's just a little more contrasty. And it's kind of Rembrandt lighting is what they call this. Rembrandt lighting is when you get this little triangle of light on the dark side of the face. So notice she doesn't really have a dark side to her face. Everything's very bright, high key. And then on this one, we've got one light on this side of his face, one light over here, no light on this side. There's just there's enough of this light kind of wrapping around. So this side is kind of dark. So what's the real differences between these two lighting styles? What do you notice? Yeah, he does kind of have an evil villain vibe to him. Totally. He's an attorney, if that helps. So that's probably why. Yeah. So anytime you use just one light or something's kind of like lit from the side, you're going to get a shadow on the other side, and it's going to be darker, and it's going to feel more dramatic. This is more like everything's going to be fine. There's a little darkness in your life. And it's all about how you light the person. Here's another example of some, let's kill the, can we kill the power to the lights in here? Okay, cool. There you can kind of see a little bit better. High key, a little bit more low key, and this is very low key lighting. And even more so, you get this triangle of light here. That's the Rembrandt lighting, and everything's a little bit darker. And this was a interview we did to promote a film festival in Springfield, and so we're going for that cinematic vibe, the cinematic look. So we've got one light, and it's probably off to this side of him here. Well, it is off to this side of him. I don't think we used a fill light. And what other light do you notice? Yeah, there's another light behind him shining just at the top of his hair. And what that does is it just creates separation. It's on his shoulder here. It's all along his hair. It's even on this side of his hair. And that's the kicker light or the hair light. Otherwise, this dark hair here would just blend in with this dark background, and you would lose that separation, right? So here's high key and low key lighting, just to get you familiar with the concepts. Bright, happy, corporate. This is dark, moody, cinematic. So there's not a right or a wrong way to do this. It's just, these shots make you feel a different way. And so just know that the lighting you do can have an impact on your audience. So also, what do you notice the difference between these two shots? Yeah, there's no hair light on this one. I don't think we took time to hair light this one. What do you notice about the light that's different? It's on the other side, yeah. So this is called broadside lighting. This is broadside. This is, the light is hitting the side of the face that's closest to the camera. That's broadside. This is far side lighting. The light is hitting the part of the face further away from the camera. Broadside, far side.
Sometimes they call that short, too.
Or short side, yeah. Short side of the interview. And so, so I tend to light most of my interviews short-sighted or far-sighted, and that's because I just think this is a more dramatic, engaging, kind of a little bit more definition. Broadside light isn't quite as dynamic to me. And this is the blue light. And then you can always just throw blue light over everything. So when I have a choice, I like to do far side lighting. I think it just, or what did you call it, Vern? Short side. Yeah. So and I resist calling it short-sighted because that's also what you call a shot without the talking space, is you short-sighted them. And so it gets a, yeah. So you can kind of see the difference there between broadside and short side or far side lighting. It's just wherever your key is. The key is over here, and then there's filled in on this side, whereas the key is on this side. And I don't think we used a fill light in this shoot. I don't remember. We might have. I can't remember. All right, so we're going to do an interview here, and I'm going to, how do I want to do this? Sorry, we have some space constraints here, but I'm going to try to make this work. First thing I'm going to do is get my camera at eye level, or as eye level as possible. And it's pretty dark in here. I have no idea what's going on there. So if I have the camera here, and my interview subject is going to be, let me think about this, sorry, because I know I want to. Okay. If our reporter is going to be here, you're going to be the reporter.
I'm the reporter.
You are the reporter. Great. So if I want to do a far side light here, where should I put the light?
On your right to the right.
Yeah, we're going to want our key light over here, right? So let's turn on one of these lights and see what happens here. In the film world, before you turn on a light, it's common courtesy to yell "striking" before you turn on a light, just to give everybody a heads up, not to look into the light. Okay, I am striking. All right. Pretty good, huh? All right, so generally, if I'm lighting anything for any reason, I like to use as little light as possible. It's always my goal to light things with as little amount of light as possible. And so I usually a lot of these LEDs are so darn bright, I tend to turn them down quite a bit. You don't need much punch. With how great these cameras are, you just don't often need a lot of it. So, before I get into all the different parts of how to light things or three-point lighting, let's talk about color temperature. So, this light is really cool. This LED light, it will actually let us change the color of the light. So I'm gonna throw it on this wall so you can see the difference. So right now we are at 3,400 Kelvin, and that is roughly the color of an incandescent light bulb, or kind of similar to if you were to light a match. It basically is, I'm going to turn it up bright, which basically is to say it's warm. It's warm lighting. Have you ever noticed that, like, you know, those string lights or old Christmas lights, not the new Christmas lights, old Christmas lights have that warm, glowy feel to them? That's because it's at a warm color temperature. And so we are using a warm color temperature in this case. And so here's what happens. Let's go up to like 5,600 Kelvin. And notice what happens to the light. It's very blue, right? But look away, let your eyes adjust, and now look back at it. Does it still look blue? Yes. It looks white again, right? Your eyes can tell the difference. Your eyes can adjust really quickly to blue light and to orange light. So this is the same color, roughly, light that's coming through that window over there. It's very blue. It's the same color that's coming off of that laptop over there. It's this daylight balanced color temperature. So, and let's see here. And so let's go back now to 34. Now all of a sudden it looks very orange. But if you gave yourself a few minutes to adjust, this will look white to your eyes. Well, the camera doesn't know what's white and what isn't. And so that's why we have to white balance cameras. So what do you think this camera is white? This light right now is set at 3,400 Kelvin. So orange, warm light. What do you think our camera is set to right now? This looks right, doesn't it? So my white balance on my camera is at 3,400. Or if you have a preset on your camera, it would be like the little light bulb thing, the incandescent light bulb. So this looks white. Now I'm going to switch my camera over to a daylight white balance setting. Okay? Now it's set, the camera is now set to shoot outdoors in daylight. And so I'm going to pan over to the daylight over here and show you. Right? This looks right. That looks good because this is blue light. This is about 5,600 or 6,500, somewhere in there. And this would be represented by like that little sunshine icon on your camera. So if you're in, that's why it's important to white balance your camera, because if we're shooting in daylight, we need to set the camera for the daylight white balance settings. And if we're shooting in a tungsten light, like we're about to, and I'm going to change it over from daylight balance setting to incandescent setting, around 3,200, 3,400, somewhere in there. And now this looks right to us. Does that make sense? Light isn't one color. White light is a spectrum of colors. So that's why white balance is so important, and that's why you can't necessarily fix this in post-production. You got to shoot it right. So the number one thing to do before you start shooting is like decide on the color temperature that you're going to use. If there was a lot of daylight pouring in here, like too much to contend with, I would set this light to daylight. And then I would set my white balance to daylight as well. And then I would be good to go. But we actually have some like pretty decent control over the light in here. And so let's set everything to 3,200. Why? Because the production crew in the back asked me to shoot at 32 to 34. So yeah, that's why. That's the only reason. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what if you shoot at 32 or 56 or anywhere in between. You just have to make sure to set your camera to the appropriate, to whatever your lights are set to. But you just got to know, if you're like, why aren't these lights making it look worse? Your color temperature might be off on them. You want to match the color temperature to what else is in the room, if that makes sense. Again, these are all rules that can be broken. A lot of films will have like a real blue and real orange light as well and mixed color temperatures. That's fine. But you've got to know the rules before you can break them. So I'm going to go back to 32, 3,400, somewhere in that zone. And that's the color temperatures we're going to be working in, the parameters we're going to be working in today. All right. So if I was just going to have one light on this interview, let's just say you have one light. I'm going to turn it down quite a bit because it's easier on the eyes. I mean, I'm at like 25% here, and it's already pretty bright if you're looking right in this. So it's just easier on the eyes for your talent. This one goes as low as, I can go as low as 10% on this. Easier on the talent's eyes. I like to go low and close is kind of my philosophy with lighting. Get it low, get the light as low as possible and get it as close as possible. That creates a nice big source. So if I'm just going to use one light, I'm probably going to just go right off of camera here. Just right to the side. Not exactly on camera, because remember that'll look like it's cops, but just right off to the side. There we go. And this isn't quite bright enough, so I'm actually going to boost it a bit. Sorry. That looks pretty good. So if you're doing the, if she's asking you the questions, there you go, great. If I've only got one light, this is the light that I'm going to use here. And that's fine. It looks fine. But if you notice, we are losing her in the background of the shot. And most of the time, you're not going to be interviewing people in pitch black rooms, you know. Melina, can you turn the lights on real quick? I just want to see. I'm curious.
You want full or half?
Let's go full. Okay. Yeah, it's so evenly lit in this room. That's why we have to turn everything off to show you actually what the lights are doing. If I was gonna make her pop a little bit, I would just darken the camera a little bit, and then boost my light. That's probably what I'd end up doing, if I wanted some of that. Yeah, that is a great point, and that's a great caveat. Why is this on autofocus? It drives me nuts. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, that's a great caveat. There's no point in lighting anything if you're shooting on automatic exposure. This is something you're going to have to learn to use: automatic exposure, manual exposure, and manual focus. Otherwise, if I set this to automatic, it would just, I don't even know what it would look like. You can't control anything on an automatic setting. So this is all assuming you're going to switch over and try to figure out how to shoot manually. So these are just kind of the concepts once you get there. I actually kind of like this. Like, even though this is way brighter in real life, you can kind of see it doesn't really matter what it looks like in real life. It's the relative brightness of the light. This light is twice as bright as the light behind her, and it's we can tell on the screen the way that it's coming through the camera, even though in real life it's not necessarily like that. So it's all about relative brightness, not actual brightness. I'm going to open. I threw an ND filter on there to kind of to cut down on the total amount of light that we were getting. So if I'm going to shoot an interview with just one light, I'm going to probably do it like this in this scenario. In reality, I would turn the lights on too to make it look a little bit more even. So watch what happens. Watch the shadows on her face as I move the light over. Watch what happens. This would be the point where we get to like Rembrandt lighting, this like 45-degree angle. Notice the triangle here? That would be kind of classic Rembrandt lighting. And then we can go all the way. If we go just like straight up on the side here. Yeah, pretty dramatic. Or we could, go all the way around. Yeah, and we can hide her identity, right? So but this is still a key light, This is still a key light. It's your one source. It's still the one source of light that we're using.
Is there a light on your camera? Because you flipped something.
Is there a light on the?
Something about a filter.
Yeah, an ND filter is just like putting a pair of sunglasses on a camera. Like, it's just literally a dark thing that gets slid on the lens. I'll show you here. Let's go super bright. It's on this specific camera has built-in ND. So here's 1/8 ND. Here's 1/16 ND and 1/64 ND. So it's just sliding little dark pieces of glass in front of our lens to darken it. So, but again, I like to use the least amount of light that I actually have to. So also, right now we are using kind of a, this is sort of a broadside approach here. Or is it? Yeah, so this is broadside. I'm going to have you look here now. Okay, great. Now, if our reporter's on this side of the camera, now we have moved over into this far side key or short side. And I think this just looks cooler. I think it just looks more dramatic. I think it's just a better way to do it. And I'm going to go down as low as I can and move it in as close as possible. And so I think it's just a pretty cool, pretty flattering way to shoot a lot of people. You get enough definition in their face. And again, here I'll show you what it looks like if we just had the one camera light on the camera. Look at the monitor there. You know, now it's all of a sudden an episode of Cops. It's just like, it's just washed out totally. So you have one light right here. Okay. So that would be our key light in this situation. Let's say we're keying from this side, and that's just a little too dramatic for what we're going for here. What can we do to fix this? Yeah, we got to get some fill light in there. So there's a couple ways to do this. Do you know the 2 ways to do this? We can add a light, yeah, right? So we can add a light, or we can reflect the light. So I wasn't really planning on this, but you can use any reflective material. Whiteboard is great for this. Watch the dark side of her face. So that's a way to get a key and a fill. Again, I'm going to remove it. I'm going to bring in the fill. I'm going to remove the fill. Bringing in the fill. Everybody got that? Yeah. So that's a way to get a key and a fill out of one light. And then, you know, you could literally just have someone hold this, or you can put this on some sort of stand and clamp it to it. Hold that there. So key light, fill light is going to fill in some of the shadows, but it's still pretty moody, still pretty dark. And you just kind of have to play with this. We spend a lot of time on set just trying to figure out what looks right, you know, and getting specific looks. Like this is a little Rembrandt-y here on her cheek, whereas this is like evenly filled. It's just, you're really sculpting light here, and you're kind of trying to figure out what works best. If it's looking just bad, if it's just like, ugh, this isn't looking good, then you probably have too many lights. You probably have too much light on it, is kind of the rule of thumb. It's turn everything off, start over, strip it down. So it's kind of my rule of thumb there. So that would be one way to get a fill. But since we have the lights, let's go ahead and use the other lights that we have. We're using this one now as a fill light. And this light doesn't get any darker. Right now, this is pretty like high key lighting, in that she's like, you know, perfectly lit kind of on both sides. So this light won't go down anymore. It's not dimmable. So one way to dim a light without having a dimmer on it is to throw it off axis, is what it's called, which just means to turn it. So like if you watch her face, if I don't want it to be that bright, I'm just going to turn counterclockwise. Well, let's just go extreme with it. And then let's go straight on. And now we're going to split the difference there. That's one way to dim a light without having a dimmer, is just throw it off axis a little bit. You could also back it up, but I can't back up any further. So
the baffles or the flaps or whatever the hell they are?
The barn doors?
Can you just cover up the light a little bit? Or what?
Yeah. I mean, that'd essentially be throwing it off axis as well. We could just bring in that barn door until it...
What's the purpose of the barn doors? Like, why would I want to use them? How would I use them?
Yeah, so most of the time a barn door, these are just, when you're trying to remove light, that's called like flagging off. Like it's usually you'd use these big black things called flags. And so, or neg fill is what it's sometimes called. And so let's imagine this is just a natural light source here, right? This is just like a window. It's not actually our light. And we want to, this will work for this. You really want something dark. And
The shirt?
let's just go with this laptop. There we go. And let's say you want to like get rid of light. You want to create that drama. You can actually bring in a black flag or just anything dark and mask it off. And just hold, get a stand to hold a big black flag of different sizes and stuff. And then you just hold it, and then it'll create, that's called neg fill, where you're actually taking fill out of a shot. So barn doors are just a way to create neg fill wherever you need it, or to get the light off of the background. So in this shot, for instance, if I'm here and I don't want all of this back here, we can use the flags or the barn doors here. You see what that did? We want to keep it on her as much as possible, but get it off the background.
Actually,
Because we don't want to create shadows unnecessarily.
Just kind of decide that it's on here.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. So that's the barn doors and the flags. These are just for controlling light, just to make sure the light's going where you want it to go. So generally, it's best practice to just kind of like flag off most of the stuff as much as you can, I think. So that's what the barn doors do. They just control. They say, I don't want light on the background. It gives you another tool to manipulate that. So we've got key. We've got a fill light here. Get a little more fill. There we go. And so the last thing we need for our interview here is a hair light, something to separate our subject from the background, because you notice she's kind of getting, she just falls off. She's just floating. She's a floating head right now. So I'm going to use a hair light. And this third hair light really, I like to go opposite of my key light. So here's my key light. So hair light's going to go somewhere over here, just kind of eyeballing it. Is this in the shot or not? You'll know in a second. All right, striking. All right, now we have the Hallmark channel hair light that I was talking about. So, again, I'm going to bring this way, way, way down. You got to be really careful with your hair light, your kicker light, your rim light, whatever you're calling it. Just because it can look super cheeseball, super fast, especially if your subject has blonde hair. It can get real cheeseball real quick. So I like to not actually notice. I don't like to be able to really notice the hair light. A lot of times this light works a little better if you go up high with it. Make sure that this is. If you go a little higher with the hair light, it can help. And then I'm going to angle that down. And again, I'm going to make this super bright so that you can see it. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm going to kill my other two lights so you can see what I'm doing here. If you don't know what your light's doing, strike the other ones, and then you can pinpoint like exactly what the actual light you're working with is doing. So that's all that light's doing right now. And so if all these barn doors are open, and it's, daylight, and it's super bright, now you know exactly where you're at, exactly what you're working with. I like this just to kind of kiss the shoulder and the side of the head. I'm just going to play with these. This is where having an external monitor really comes in handy, because otherwise you're going to, adjust this and then go look at your viewfinder. It's kind of a hassle. Yeah, if you're by yourself, it's pretty tough. And then if you, and I like to get not just on the hair, but I like to catch the shoulder if possible. The way to catch more of the shoulder is to bring the light in until it's in the shot, like this, and then just back it off. Go, okay, that's about right. So this is creating some nice separation for us here. And so we'll see what it does whenever we turn all of them on. Back to where we were. So now we've got a nice key light on the far side. We're filled in. It's not overly dramatic. And then we've got this hair light, which is still honestly a little intense for my taste. I'm going to back it off. just a little bit, and then maybe throw it off axis, just a smidge. See if that's any more subtle.
Just lit up the background.
Yeah, now we're on the. So, throw it off axis the other way, I guess.
Take your time, Jessica's fine sitting there as long as you need.
Doing a great job. Doing a great job. So, so now we have a little bit of separation here from our background, and it's actually, you know, this shot's looking pretty nice. I mean, there's no light on our background. That would be where you would introduce a fourth light or a fifth light or as many. You know what I mean? You can really keep adding these on. And if you've watched, like, you know, if you watch Dateline or if you watch any of these big news shows, they will do that. They'll dress the set. They'll bring plants over, put them in the shot. It's always a plant. They always put a plant in, and then they'll rake light across the background, and there's a whole art to that as well. But this is the basic of it. It's a key light, fill light, hair light, and that's kind of sort of the basics. So. And then here, let's see what it looks. I'll show you what it looks like to just have two lights. If I'm going to lose one of the lights, if I only have two and I have to get rid of one, I'm going to get rid of my fill. And then you can kind of see how we're using the key light and just the hair light here. And if I just have these two lights, I'm going to move this one around and make it my key / fill and just use that. That looks pretty good too. Or I'm going to bring it over here, go extreme with it, and then bounce this. Find a bounce of some sort to bring that in. So, you did a great job. Give her a round of applause. Also, I might need you back here if someone asks a question, so don't go too far. So yeah, properly light a green screen. Sure. The main thing, the number one mistake I see everybody making, we can turn these lights on. The number one mistake I see everybody make is that they don't light the green screen independently. If you have a green screen, you need to light it separately than your subject. So for instance, let's say, I don't know, let's just say this is our green screen, right? We need to throw some lights just on it, and preferably on both sides of it. So, throw one on this side, and we throw one on the other side. And now, here's how most people light their green screens. They just throw the light on the subject, then they stand right here in front of the green screen.
Shadow.
And look at that shadow, right? It's going to be a nightmare to key that shadow out. So what you should do instead is light your green screen and then place your subject in front of your lights there. You see, you're not getting any shadows on that now. And then it's going to give you this nice crisp line to greens, to crop out. Also shooting at like higher apertures, like not shooting wide open with cameras, so that you get a nice sharp depth of there's a wider range of depth of field will help a lot. The number one thing is just then you would do 3-point lighting on me now. So key, fill, hair light of just me. Also, you want to look at what you're lighting. Like what are you putting in the green screen? Is it high key lighting? What does it look like? What are you putting in the background? Because that lighting needs to match the lighting you're doing on your subject. You can't do the super dramatic lighting on your subject and then a super high key sunny. It's going to look super fake. So that's the number one tip. Light your screen separately from your subject. Also, what do you need? Because you might say like, oh, this will work as a green screen. Just put it behind the person. It's like, oh, okay, maybe that'll work. Well, that's not going to work because the person can't stand there. The person's going to have to stand here. So you need a bigger green screen than you think you do, because you got to separate your subject from the background. So to me, that's the number one thing I see people. Oh, geez. That's the number one thing I see people constantly messing up is they get too close to the green screen. So that's the main thing. And then also, you know, I'm not big on green screens. I'm famously like pretty anti-green screen just because I just don't, I can always tell. I know. I can tell. You can tell. Like there aren't a lot of great green screening things happening in scholastic broadcasting in the world.
Great way to make a closet into a studio, though.
Yes, that's true. That is true. That is true. Yeah, that's true. So I'm like, if you're doing something creative with it that's like, oh, this shot, we can't do it any other way other than a green screen, chroma key, cool, that's awesome, great way to do it. Or if that's the only space that you have, yeah, that's totally fine. But if you're just like, let's put in a digital background, it's like, as your studio, it's like, okay, you know, like 1,000 other schools are going to do that too. It's going to look just like theirs, and I'm going to be able to tell they're all green screen. So I'm not like dissing on it, but you know, there's one time Dave and I were shooting, or we were doing a workshop down in Miami. It was Miami Country Day School, and it was one of the most beautiful campuses I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it looked like a country club, and it was an elementary school, and they had this green screen set up, and I was like, guys, this is the most beautiful backgrounds I've ever seen in my entire life at a school. They had all these built-in sets all around their school they could have shot in front of for their anchor spots. And they're in front of this green screen, the chroma keying in this studio that looked like a spaceship. You know, the deck of the Starship Enterprise. So it's like, guys, go use the beauty. It's beautiful here. And it's more fun, too. Like, I think it's more fun to light a set, because then you get the kids that are like really into stage and theater, stagecraft, set building, all that stuff. You can put or like, you know, the ones that are real mechanically inclined, or they can build stuff in wood shop, and you can work in other kids that aren't the tech nerds, but maybe they're the theater stage building nerds. You can get them in it. And I think that's a lot more fun. It's a little more tactile, and it's going to be completely unique to your program. So, so not to totally diss green screens. They're fine. So I'm sorry. Sorry. Tell the green screens I'm sorry. Oh, blue screens, whole different thing. Totally cool. Totally cool. Any other questions about lighting? The other thing I say is like, we are in the era of LED lighting. These are LED lights. Whenever you go to buy lights for your program, you don't need to consider anything other than LED lights. These things they're big, they're bright, they're getting cheaper, and a lot of them are naturally diffused like this. They don't give you harsh shadows, and they're not hot. Like, I could never do this. 20 years ago, I couldn't do this with a light. It would physically melt my skin by this point with how long this light's been on. And with the old hot lights, with the incandescent bulbs or the HMIs or the halogen bulbs or whatever, there's like, you turn them off and then you have to wait 30, 45 minutes to tear down the set because, you know, they're hot. You can't touch them. So that's another, like, it's an amazing era of lighting right now. And it draws no power, hardly any power at all. So I don't have to worry about tripping breakers and stuff. With those old 1,000-watt bulbs, you plug them in and you're going to be tripping breakers, burning yourself. There were fires started in my high school in the HTV room because of those old hot lights. And it's just, and they were terrifying. You know, they get a little fray in them and you're like, is that going to kill me? Kind of stuff.